It don't bother me at all. All right, we are officially live. We are on episode 6. We had an improv episode with Rob from Traveling DJs, what a lot of you know. We did an improv episode with him on Sunday. But we are officially episode 6 of talking about working on the cruise ship, working as a DJ on the cruise ship, and we're going to talk about working as a female DJ on a cruise ship.
Woo! So, shout out to the females.
What?
Females rock, man. Females rock.
We out here.
We're gonna start with we're gonna go from the youngest to the oldest, not age, but the time that you were on the ship. And I think MosPrecious might be the newest to the ship. So give us your background. Let us know who you are, where you at right now, and when did you start working on ships?
I figured I was gonna be. Basically, I'm DJ MosPrecious. I started working April 2018. Still currently on the ships due to COVID. I'm based out of St. Louis, Missouri, where that's where I'm born. But I also do business and work in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, to be exact. I hope that answers your questions. What other question did you have?
I mean that's good because we're gonna circle back around. We don't want to get too in depth. Who else would probably be? I would say Whit. Well, I don't know. Whit, when did you start? Was it 2015, 2016?
2015.
All right. I think Whit and Saxy is a tie, so we're gonna go with Whit.
Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Whitney. I go by Whit. I've been DJing on ships since 2015, like around April. I'm based in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm also based in Doha, Qatar, in the Middle East. But right now I'm in Ohio.
Dayna.
Ooh, Ohio. I'm in the Middle East.
Yeah,
Ohio look bad. Making Ohio.
Whit and I are practically neighbors. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we kick
in Ohio, and I still haven't seen them.
I know, crazy. Right up the street.
Right up the street. All right, so we're gonna slide down around. I don't know how it looks on the live stream, but we're gonna send over to DJ Saxy.
Hi everyone, I'm here. My name's DJ Saxy. I'm from Mississippi, currently in Atlanta. So I bounce around the southern region. And I've been doing cruise ships for about 5 years now. Started with Carnival and currently with Carnival. Via COVID. Via COVID.
Via COVID.
Right.
And we're gonna talk about Saxy experience during the COVID because we shot a video for the We'll Be Back. And I'm like, has anybody seen Saxy? And she was like in transit from Australia to the Philippines, trying to get from the Philippines to the US.
Got stuck in London.
Oh no! I was following your journey completely.
Wait, that's the teaser. That's the teaser. That's the teaser. You gotta stick around because it was
why don't we just focus on you right now, Saxy?
Oh no, I know.
Oh no.
All right. We're gonna send over to Dayna, DJ Dayna. What's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm DJ Dayna, based in Columbus, Ohio, and I've been DJing for 19 years. I've been DJing, on cruise ships since 2014, and I've only ever actually DJed on cruise ships as a guest DJ, entertainer status. So my contracts are anywhere between 2 weeks to 4 weeks is average, and the longest I've done is 6 weeks, and I've DJed on Disney, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Crystal Cruises.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, resume. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna go and we're gonna throw it to the OG in the chat right here.
Lord.
OG. She was the person. She was the person I was reaching out to when I was trying to get a job. When I got hired on a cruise ship, and I couldn't find nobody like to find, and I kept coming up with her name, and I felt like a creeper, like hitting her up, like, "Hey, so I see you on the cruise ship. Yeah, can you give me some information?" So I felt super creepy, but she was the only one I can find, and thank goodness because she hit me.
Probably because I threw my name out there like crazy.
Hey, there you go.
Marketing.
Seriously.
Right. So
I started. Yeah, I'm for Erica, Electra, they call me on ships. But I
I'm from Jersey, so I started actually DJing at 17, and I'm 33 now, and I'm still doing it. But I started Chips, 2009, right out of college. And then once I was pushing 30, I was like, okay, I think it's time for a change. So that's what happened.
Once I was pushing 30, I didn't start on the ships till I was 35. So
I know. Well,
once
I
was
had
pushing
my
30.
son.
Electra's been at it for a while.
That's why I felt super creepy. Like I'm hitting like the youngest person I can find is working on ships right now. Like, so is it worth me going out? So sorry. So, got a couple questions. Of course, we got the chat open. So if anybody is interested in dropping something in the chat, we got Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. If you watch it on YouTube, go to Twitch because the comment section sucks on YouTube. All right, so there we go. So one thing that was in there, it's like a question is, what is it like to be a female DJ in a male-dominated field? Not even with the ships, but just overall, because all of us, all you all are still DJing. What's your take on that? Do you feel some difference in there in a majority male-dominated field? And how does that transcend on the ship? Do you get a different reaction being a female on the ship? Because Whit talked about her experience over in Qatar as a female in a culture that females aren't allowed to even go out and drink. So that was that was the conversation from Sunday. So who want to talk about this? Who want to give some input on this? We throw it to Saxy.
I
Saxy,
will.
you ready?
I'll throw it out there.
All right.
I just know on ships when I was working the club, I always kind of butt heads with the assistant bar manager because he thought he was the shit, and he was the power. I'm a male, I'm above you in a way because I can close down the nightclub at this time. So I always had a problem that way, being a female, where I noticed the male DJs didn't, but then I think, we could use our charm to get away with things. So it works in our favor. But that's just my little side note.
Has anybody ever experienced any of that going from land, like any difference from working on land in the clubs to working on the ships? What about you, Dayna, as a guest entertainer? Versus most of this crew.
Well, I mean, I've always had very positive experiences. I mean, when I'm 100% honest, I've never felt a difference in how I was treated or respect. I've always felt like I was treated very well with a lot of respect. I get along really well with, I can talk to a dandelion for 3 hours probably. So I'm just kidding. I don't joke about that. Cause I literally can, I just connect really well with anybody. I don't know. I treat everybody.
I see that with you too. I see that's your personality.
So thank you. So I feel like, if you're honest and truthful and friendly, like that's what you're going to receive back. So I think that I don't think there really is a difference between of what sex you are, when it comes to that. The only thing I could see where it hasn't happened to me, like I said, on a cruise ship is possibly maybe, the negative side. If there is somebody, that we have a lot of people that are obviously really drunk drinking, and that can bring out certain actions and emotions. And so I could foresee that, being an issue as a female, having, men approach and maybe take it a little step too far in the flirtation, or, that maybe close. Well, I'm sure maybe some of these other.
That's not a female. I get that. I get
well,
that.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah.
I'm talking about the drunk guys approaching me, trying to. I'm just.
No, that's true. Because I don't know. I think. Yeah. So like I said, I've never really experienced a difference, or from what I've seen in my experiences have been majority positive. Yes, I've had some issues with some of the CDs or ACDs, but nothing major. And I don't think it was because I'm female, it's just a difference of an opinion or perspective. So that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Anybody else got some take on that?
I do.
MosPrecious, she thinking over there.
I mean, I'm gonna say something. So basically, with what I do on the cruise ship, or even on land, sometimes our sex do play a major part. I've learned that we get paid maybe more because we're female in some areas and some markets, which can come off as sex related. Also, on the ships, I agree with DJ Electra. It's definitely the assistant bar managers I used to always have issues with. But it wasn't, it was more like, it's my club. You do what I want. Close what I want, or something like that. Or it's always the person I open up for always feels that I maybe don't know what I need to know to do a successful set. So it sometimes does play a part that we are female and we're not given the respect that we can do just as a good job as a male, if come be. That has been an issue, but it hasn't stopped nothing, if that makes any sense. So
right,
that's just
right.
my opinion.
So I'm a step back a notch. How did you all wind up working on a cruise ship? What was like, how did this come apart? Do you just say, you know what? I think I just want to just leave land and go work at the sea, or I'm bored with the nightclubs, or I need a new opportunity. You know, what was the start of like, hey, you know what? I think I want to go work on a cruise ship. For me, I saw free food and vacation with pay. You know, I was like, oh, free food, no gym membership.
Right.
Sign me up. So
free food.
You know,
Yeah.
right. The free food. So how did you wind up on the cruise ship from Columbus, Ohio? We're in the Midwest. You got the Ohio River that's 2 hours away, and it ain't really much water around us. We landlocked state. So how did you wind up on the cruise ship?
Honestly, I'm an only child, so I've always kind of ventured out on my own, and I love taking chances. I love taking risk. And for me, I wanted to put myself in a position where I was exercising my craft every day and being exposed to different cultures and being able to travel. That was really appealing to me. So I just made the decision and I didn't give up.
So how did you go by? Like, did you research this? Did you get online? You get on Facebook? Did you check YouTube, Google? How did you say, you know, how did you get to that point?
I did once I connected with Rob from Traveling DJs, that really helped get my foot in the door. And then, you know, I started with Carnival as a host DJ. And once I noticed that there was levels, you know, you have your guest entertainers on Princess, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian. When I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, I got to get to that point. So, you know, I did research, I asked questions, I networked, and I just did the work.
All right. So I'm gonna throw it to Dayna. 19 years DJing, 5 years on the ship. What was that turning point that you say, you know what, I'm looking for a different opportunity?
Yeah, sure. So, I had been working. So I just started kind of branched off my own. I subcontracted DJing, you know, for so many companies for so many years. And then it was when I had moved from LA back to Ohio, it was, you know, at a transitional point in my life, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. I decided, you know, to start DJing again, but this time I was going to do it on my own. And it was going to be a side hustle, like part-time job while I looked for full-time work. And I had a company based in New York City, which a lot of people are familiar with, called Scratch Events. And they're like a nationwide DJ booking company. They had reached out to me about doing an event in Ohio that was requesting a female DJs. So I started working for them, doing a little bit of retail and corporate work here and there here in Ohio. And then I had inquired with them, hey, what else do you guys have that I could do for your company here in Ohio besides, you know, the retail and corporate here and there? And like, well, we actually have a cruise ship division. I was like, wait, what? Because I never really thought about it. Honestly, I mean, I did like maybe years ago when I, you know, just got out of college and I always thought cruise ships would be so much fun to like work on, but I never pursued it. So they're like, yeah, we'll put you in touch. And that's really how it evolved. Was they put me in touch with the cruise ship manager at the time, and they had contracts with Disney, Celebrity, and Royal Caribbean for guest entertainer positions that were 2 weeks or 1 month, 2 weeks on Disney and Celebrity, and then 1 month on Royal Caribbean. And so the idea was we were going on as another DJ and DJing along with their resident DJ, you know, their crew DJ. So that was this concept they came up with. So we kind of had a program too we had to follow. We were DJing like the evening events and then teaching classes too as well. So that's how I initially got in. So I said yes, of course. And so I started DJing for them, and then I got connected also with Rob Natigal of Traveling DJs, and then he introduced me to Crystal Cruises. So, and I pretty much have been exclusive with Crystal Cruises now for 2 years. So that's all I've done. So that's thanks to Rob. Yeah.
Rob. Right.
Yeah.
Rob's name popped up a lot during a lot of these conversations. That's why I had to get Rob on. And everybody who deal with Rob, you know, Rob is a very hard guy to track down and get on a call. So finally got Rob on here Sunday. So, you know,
nice.
So we're gonna jump down to Saxy, because me and Saxy actually interviewed, I believe, at the same time at the DJ Expo. Because I think was that 2014? That the Expo 2014? Okay. So, you know, what made you stop at the Carnival DJ? Because when I saw Carnival DJ Expo, I'm like, why is Carnival Cruise Line sitting at the DJ Expo? I'm like, are they giving away a free cruise? And you know, are they offering raffles? What is Carnival Cruise Line doing at the DJ Expo? And next you know, I'm in a interview room on the second floor of the hotel. So, you know, what was your motivation to stop by that table at the Expo? Free cruise?
Oh wow, yeah. Well, getting to the Expo for me was a whole experience, because that was actually my very first time going to the Expo. You know, I'm from Mississippi, so you stuck in the South, and going by myself all the way to Atlantic City just to go to the Expo, I was already just wowed by all the big things and all the DJs. But when I was there, just like you, I just saw this random sign that said Carnival, 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 and then I saw one that said Carnival DJs, and I ended up walking into the room somehow, and I just ran into Alex Dayna, who was like, "Oh yeah, we're doing auditions. We're doing auditions for DJs on a cruise ship." And I'm like,
Alex move. That's the Alex move.
There's DJs, you know. It's like, yeah, you should audition. I was just down there. I'm like, dude, I don't have my turntables. I don't have a computer. No. You can use mine. It's in there. Set up. Let's go. You know. So, and that was basically it. Like, I had no idea. I had no idea about DJs on cruise ships whatsoever. I just happened to run into it, I guess.
I was saying,
that's how I explained it. Exactly.
I thought it was a free cruise. I thought it was a free cruise. Like, they're giving out free cruises. Let me stop by and see what they got. You know. So that's,
you like the free stuff.
Hey, it's the Expo. You all go to the Expo. You go around the Expo. You put your name in hats and waiting for that. See, you gonna win that $10,000 DJ gear at the end of the week and everything else. So all right. So we're gonna throw it to Erica, because she started you was right out of high school, college.
No,
College, right out of college. So how did you wind up? What was that turning point for you, and how did you go about doing it? You know, because it was hard enough trying to find information in 2015, let alone before that, on how to apply for a job on a ship. You know, how did you go by even finding this position?
Yeah, I said this in one of the other episodes that I kind of really just Googled, you guys are gonna laugh, just fun travel jobs, or I was DJing at the time. So I was actually not even really, I don't think, thinking about DJing. It might've just been entertainment staff. And all the lists of ships came up, and I applied on their websites, really, and had their interviews. And I didn't really think I was gonna just jump and do it, but I did. And it was 6 months, my first contract. And I was like, what did I do?
6 months.
Because I never went away.
Was it 6 months? Was it 6 months straight? It was
that
6
struggle.
months straight.
It was 6. Yes. Yep. But I mean, it's the time of our lives. You can all say it's the best job ever. You travel, you're in, paradise. You get to go to Europe, Alaska, Hawaii, doing what you love. It was a no-brainer,
Right. So what was one of the biggest struggles, from, all of us was DJing before, but what was one of the biggest struggles when you got on the ship? What was the biggest adjustment going from land, like everybody thinking, because a lot of people think like we just play line dances all day, over and over, cha-cha, Cupid shuffle, wobble, but I know Dayna got a different clientele with Princess than what we are seeing on Carnival. And Wit is probably seeing a different clientele on Princess than what Carnival was. We had a couple guys talking about ballroom dancing on Sunday. They was working on Crystal. It may have been one of the Princesses. I'm like, ballroom dancing, we're not doing no ballroom dancing. Right, the journey. That's a journey cruise. But what was one of the biggest struggles going from being in the club every weekend, to being in the club every day? Because the club don't close. I don't know about you, Dayna, and with on the other ships, but Carnival, the club's open 7 days a week, 365 days, unless we outside doing an event. So what was the big struggle jumping from land to sea? Everybody thinking like
I know.
everybody like it's a big jump, All right,
Well,
what was your biggest struggle? Or Dayna?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I was gonna say something came to mind. Well, I'd say, also, so my experience on each of the different cruise lines have definitely been different for sure, 100%. And exclusively, like Crystal is definitely geared towards an older generation as well, and they do have so much variety of entertainment, and we actually share some of the same space with some of the other evening entertainment, whereas on Royal Caribbean or Carnival or some of the other ships, they have an exclusive place dedicated to a nightclub. Well, and I have to actually interject and say that Crystal has 2 ships. So one does have a designated nightclub, and then the other one that I predominantly DJ on, it has like a shared space with evening entertainment, and then it turns into like the club afterwards. But we definitely have a closing time, so it's pretty much, there's not a designated closing time. It's always listed as till late. But in general, the audience, their clientele is not really up super late. So it's so different because Royal Caribbean, I DJ'd all the time. It was like I could never get out of there before 2 or 3 a.m., every night. So that's different. So for me, because I had always pretty much been, I'd done nightclub work, but I pretty much had always been a predominantly a mobile DJ. So I was not used to DJing in a club 7 nights a week. For me, that was hard, because I was trying to come up and be creative with my set every night when you have the same group of guests and people were coming and going too. So sometimes, and some people, you may see the same guests the entire voyage, for 7 nights. And so you still wanted to keep it fresh for them. So they're not like, what is this DJ like playing repeat all the time? So it was like, I think that was the most creatively, like the challenge was.
We all know that one.
Keeping it fresh every night, for the same guests. And then even on Crystal, we have voyages that are 2 weeks long and more. So sometimes you're working with guests for a very long period of times. And so imagine that, having to keep that group, entertained.
Done that.
If they're coming and stuff for that many nights. So, but like I said too, I think, on other ships, having like theme nights, and like definitely the ballroom is, don't have to play too much ballroom, but on Crystal specifically, I did have to learn how like more modern day music translates to ballroom style. So I had to learn that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that was one thing. And also just the music, international music. I'd say I know how to learn a lot more Latin music, a lot more just music from all over, but I loved it. Cause like, I love learning about all the music from all over. So
it wasn't something you're throwing down to Columbus every week. You weren't throwing down no soca every weekend.
Right.
that was my struggle. Latin and soca, being in the Midwest and getting to a ship and everybody like, you got some reggaeton? I'm like, we gonna make it work.
What is that?
Right. So who else want to throw something in there? Biggest transition from land to sea. What was the toughest transition?
The cabin.
The cabin.
Oh, yes.
The cabin.
Yeah.
The pool.
Wait. Was it
cabin
space? Was it the shared cabin? I think you had shared to single, right? All right.
Yes.
So Erica,
shared.
did you start off with a shared cabin?
I started off with my first 2 contract as shared, and then I went to solo. And now you guys are back on shared, right?
Back on shared, yeah.
Yeah, back on shared.
All
I don't know. I don't know about Whitney. Whitney, are you sharing or is all solo?
So I'm a Princess Cruise Line now, and I don't share a cabin. But when I started with Carnival, I did have to share a cabin, and luckily my roommate was super cool. She was from Jamaica, so it was like a real cool relationship.
I know your roommate.
Aisha Prende, shout out to her.
Yeah, Aisha, shout out to Aisha.
Yeah.
So
I've always had my own room.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
yeah, I've never had to share.
You, Dayna and Whitney, you guys have guest cabins on those ships?
On Crystal,
Dayna.
I do.
Yes, that's awesome.
So with Princess,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
With Princess, they have like entertainer cabins. So it's not a
They're
guest
different.
cabin, but it's like a one room cabin for entertainers.
Okay.
That
I
must
think
be.
we had those on Carnival when I first started. It was the if you've been on any of the Dream Class, it's where the comedians stay at. It was the like on the 6th floor where the comedians, the fly-ons. Basically, the DJs when I started had like the fly-on cabins where most of the entertainment would come on that, and then that quickly disappeared. So it was good while it lasted.
It was fun while it lasted.
I got a question.
Oh, I did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think Carnival will ever go back to giving their DJs their own cabins?
He actually the wrong person on that one.
No idea.
No comment.
I can only go off what was discussed when all this was going on. The whole reason that they start doing the shared cabins again because they brought on more entertainment, which I did see more entertainment coming on board. So they brought trios back on board. They brought string quartets back in. They brought some, the violin. They had a bunch of different people come on board versus not having all these different groups, because it used to be a bunch of duos. Then they start bringing solos.
Well, the reggae. They got rid of the reggae.
Right. Yeah, the reggae bands, and they start bringing the strings on. So it was one of those things. But this
was so
only in the
stupid. Yeah.
No
but that
comment.
was so dumb to get rid of reggae.
On the Caribbean cruise, look, we won't go there. We won't go there. So what was some other transitions that you all faced coming from from land to sea? I had a bumpy road starting off. I'm not even gonna lie. It was tough, being in a college town most of my DJ career, and then it was great because I was entertaining people my age versus people that was 10 years younger than me. Wasn't a bunch. I mean, I'm be honest. I mean, I love the 90s stuff, and that's where I grew up. I mean, it's hard playing mumble rap every weekend, so that was
that's all they want to hear.
That's it.
That was right. That was a huge transition. So what was some other
TikTok
transitions,
songs?
Right. I'm not even on it. That you know what? That's another thing. How did y'all keep up with the music while being on board? That was, the internet is not friendly to us on the ship.
No.
How did you keep up with the music?
I don't want to say my secret because I don't want to tell my secret. But
it ain't nobody watching.
It's easy.
It's nobody.
It's easy. Like
right
when
now.
you get in ports, you just download the music.
Yeah. Yep. You find the best Wi-Fi at the best coffee shop and download the music.
That's it.
The best. You follow crew. That's all you do. I tell people all the time. You know where to find the internet? Just look for the crew members. Look for the crew.
Yeah, but you also got to know the music just by their request. If they kept requesting the same songs, you're like, this is top 40.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to have people get on board on a Sunday, expect me to have the song that just came out like Tuesday or the week before. Like, you don't have the song? I'm like, and it's always like, can you download it? Do your phone work?
Play it off my phone. Just play it off my phone.
Yeah, play it off my phone. Yeah, I love that one. Here.
I got my own aux cable. Can I just play it? What? I'm down with the aux cable.
The remark is we're in the middle of the ocean. So how do you want us to
exactly. Exactly. So another question we had, did anybody ever have a female mentor starting off DJing? Did anybody have any kind of mentor? Did anybody work under anybody?
In the cruise ship world? Are you talking
about? Just in general, the cruise ship world and before you went on board, did you have that female DJ that you inspired to be like? Did you have somebody you looked up to, or did you have a DJ that you looked up to? Like somebody's like, you know what? I love what this person's doing. I want to follow these steps, you know? Because I mean, for me, I grew up during the era of DJ Clue and Funkmaster Flex and, you know, DJ Jazzy Jeff. I mean, this is my era of you know, people are like, oh, it's Jazzy Jeff from Fresh Prince. Like, you know, he was DJing before Fresh Prince, right? You know, but people don't know that. But did you have any mentors like starting off DJing? Because a lot of us been doing it for a while.
I did. They're probably no name to a lot of people, but DJ Riri is how I got inspired to be on cruise ships. She was on Carnival back in the day, worked with Rob and all. Like, that's how she got there. That's how I actually got encountered with cruise ships, because I'm from St. Louis. Ain't no water here but Mississippi. So we don't have cruise ships. I've never cruised before then. But she was like my inspiration to be on cruise ships. But it's this DJ out of Chicago named DJ Quiet Storm, who's a mad spin turntablist, bad as ever. I actually personally saw him and I was like intrigued. It's another one, DJ Spinrella, who's out of Dallas, which is not a lot of female DJs that made a lot of impact back in the day.
Of course.
But she definitely is holding her own. Erykah Badu's doing a little DJing as well now. So those are just I'm inspired by the craft, period. So DJ or not, I'm inspired just to figure out how we can unify or how I can utilize what you do to be better at when we be better as a whole.
I mean, how did you fall into this, Saxy? How did you fall into the DJ career? Like, what was just like, you know what? You know, I just want to start doing this. I did it as a way to get to the parties without having to dance. I'm not a dancer. I can show up at the parties.
He's not a dancer.
Get paid. I can show up, get paid, and not have to dance. He's like, you gotta know how to dance. Like, nah, dog, I'm not here to dance. I'm here to play music. You know, that's my job. that was my look. If you talk to anybody from the cruise ship, that was always on my review, my evaluation. DJ A-roc does not dance.
You never dance. You never dance.
You want
I try.
Are you the straight face DJ then? Are you like this?
No, I'm smiling. I'm doing. I'm just not dancing. I ain't like doing the.
Because I know Dayna dances the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Dayna's always dancing.
I dance. Yeah. I mean, not all the time, because sometimes, but yeah, like if I dance quite a bit, or I'm always moving,
awesome.
You know.
Look at him, he's ready to go.
Yeah. I always have like the head going like this.
On a good night, I will be drenched in sweat, just completely.
I can't do it. So how did you fall into it, Saxy? What was just something like, you know what, this is what I want to do, you know, because this is our professional career. This is not just a side hustle, not a hobby. I mean, we're all doing this professionally. You know, how did you fall into this profession? You know, I hate when people call this, so man, I see a little hustle going. Man, this ain't no hustle, dog.
And
taxes, dog. Right.
We get that a lot. But honestly, for me, I've always been surrounded by music, even in my childhood. Everyone in my family plays instruments. My father's actually a DJ, so I grew up listening to a little bit here and there. But when I was growing, like high school, college, he really wasn't doing it that much. I just happened to pick it up. I was in school for music. I was doing production, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a set of turntables, because I would just go to the college parties and check out these guys. You know, I'm like, man, I can do that. So I bought a pair, and I just practiced and hustled it up, you know, and it just kind of grew from there. I started doing the frat parties. Oh man, that's really where it kicked off. Because when you make friends with the frat, oh yeah, you do one fraternity party, it turns into two, it turns into three, it turns into four. The queues be hopping and bumping into your table. You know, right. I've been through all of it. But for me, like, that's really honestly where I got my start. It just from scratch. And then on the way, I picked up some other DJs in the area, and they kind of took me under their wing, you know, but it was all guys. I was the only female. In the part of Mississippi where I was living, there were no female DJs, period. There might've been one, but it might've been like an older lady that was on radio or something like that, but she wasn't spinning. She was more like a radio personality. Right. So for me, there was no females, period, for me to look up to in my area per se. But of course, like Precious said, I mean, you do have the idol female DJs that we look at. Like I used to look at Spinnerella, Jazzy Joyce out of New York. I paid attention to, you know, all these DJs like that. I'm like, these women are doing it. They're really doing it. And for me, coming out of college, picking up more and more business, doing more and more clubs, and then starting the cruise ships, it was just a complete change. Because like you said, a lot of people think it's just a hobby. It's, oh, that's not a career, but I have to show people like, no, like, that's my career. Because a lot of times people are like, what do you do? I DJ. Oh, and what else do you do?
So what's your real job? So what's your? I used to get that on the ship. So what do you? So what's your real job? We not on the ship, like
DJ.
I'm DJ. What's your real job? My real job. I'm sorry. I'm paying taxes is a real job. So you know,
it's the same.
So Dayna, you know, how did you get started in your DJ career? Because we're almost the same age, right?
Ooh, yes, like, yeah, we are.
What, we 25, right? We both 25.
Yeah.
You turned 25, right?
Yeah.
25. Cool,
Young hearts, wild and free.
So how did you fall into this profession?
Yeah, sure. I was in college. I hung out with a group of DJs. One of my friends was dating one. And so we were always following them around wherever bar or nightclub the group was, you know, spinning at. And I've always loved music. I've always been the first to hit the dance floor. And most people probably could see. Most probably people like, wait, what? No, I'm just kidding. Like anytime, yeah. Like I just remember, I mean, even it dates back when I was a child. I made up dance routines and I put on shows for my parents' guests when they come over. I took my little red Little Tykes cassette tape player to the bus stop, put on some roller skates and did a little dance routine. Well, that was me. So, you know, music was big too in my house growing up. My dad loves music. Oh gosh, he's like the best 50s and 60s music trivia guy. Like he knows it all. So music played a big important part of my life. And like I said, never thought about DJing myself or thought of it as a career or even obviously, but I just, I was talking to the guy that kind of ran that crew there on campus. By the way, I went to a college here in Ohio, outside of Cincinnati called Miami of Ohio. And so
Miami, Ohio.
No!
That's like OU.
Red Hawks. I know. We're so you guys, yeah, like OU and Miami of Ohio, we were like big rivals. So, so I just started asking him a lot of questions just because I was curious about it. And then he's like, do you want to give it a try? Because you seem really interested. I'm like, really? Like, what? I could do that? Okay, yeah, sure. So he just kind of threw me on the deck. So back then I was using a CDJs, Pioneer CDJs. The 1000s just came out. And so he trained me how to, you know, just all the basic skill sets. And then he literally threw me on, like, probably with only a few hours of training.
Oh, wow.
Just like, go get it, you know, and I'm at like one of the biggest nightclubs there on campus. Like, it was quite an experience. I'll never remember, like, I will, I'll never forget, not that I'll never remember, I'll never forget that feeling though, man. Like being up there, like I was up on stage and playing the music, seeing the crowd's reaction. I was like, yes, and I got to dance at the same time. And,
isn't that a great feeling?
Yes, I was like, man, this is. I'm set. This is where my heart's at. So yeah, that's how I got started. So and also like Saxy and I started doing like college. I did like the fraternity and sorority parties and those formals and the grab-a-dates. And then the company I worked for started doing more mobile events, doing the weddings and the bar and bat mitzvahs and birthday parties, things. So I started just dabbling in everything while I, continued in college. So, and kept doing it post-college.
College
you reminded me of something.
Nice.
Who, what?
Oh, I was gonna say you just reminded me of something when you mentioned your first time. My first time actually DJing in a club was when one of the guys that was mentoring me had to take a bathroom break.
I pull out on my guys, like a lot of the DJs I work with, like, hey, I'll be right back. Just keep an eye on everything, and I just dip. Just to give them that feeling that I'm not hovering over their shoulders. Like, I'll be right back. You got this, you know. And then I just kind of hang out. I just kind of hang out in the back and just watch them. You see them sweating, you know, and I do it like.
When are you coming back? When are you coming back?
Yeah.
Right. And I do it right at the peak time when I know, like 12 o'clock, when I know the floor is like, I'll be right back. Don't mess this up. So, you know, so it's one of those things, like everybody got the thing with the college, you know. So how did you fall into this profession? Like, what was the driving force to say, you know what, not even cruises, but just the DJ life? How did you get into this hobby? What's your real job? It never gets old. I don't care how many times I hear it. So what do you really do?
Just like Saxy, music has always been in my life. I played the saxophone when I was younger. I played the snare drums. I've always just had a passion for music. My mom sings. And, you know, what I've realized is I've been a DJ before I was a DJ. Just thinking back on my life, you know, I used to hang out with my aunt. She was a few years older than me, like 10 years older. And when I used to hang out on the porch, I'm from a small town in Ohio. It's called Coshocton. There's nothing to do. So everybody just kind of hangs out at everybody's house, play music and stuff like that. So my aunt's here with her friends, kicking it on the porch. I'd go get the boom box in the house with the extension cord. I'd grab my aunt's CDs and just play music for all of us to have a good time to. And once I got to college, I ordered some equipment and I continued to do that. Just play music to just create a good experience, a good time. And that's always been my inspiration behind it. Just like Dayna and Saxy, like my first time DJing was 2 weeks after I got my equipment. My friend's like, hey, I'm having a get together at my house. And I get there to set up to play music. And it's like 200 people. It's a house party. I'm like, songs, you know, just making it work, but just having a good time. Right then and there, I was like, man, this is what I've been meaning to do my whole life. This is what I've been doing, just bringing people together for a whole time. So that's how I became a DJ.
The house party. Oh, we having to get together. And then everybody, I think if anybody DJ'd in college is we're just having a few people over, just come by, or it's gonna be a small one. It's gonna be over early. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be in 3 o'clock. Hey, can you just keep staying? You know, can you just keep playing till the police show up?
Man, I thought the floor was gonna fall in.
was the floor doing a trampoline move? Everybody jumping
man,
down?
It was just so heavy.
Oh man.
Sit there like I gotta play some slow songs for it. It's getting kind of crazy up here. So MosPrecious, you know, how did you fall into this? You know, because you got a lot of stuff going on. But how did you fall in there? Who mic is on? I think somebody got some feedback. But MosPrecious, how did you fall into the DJ career before the ships? Like, what was the driving force to get you into this?
Well, I started on college radio in 2009. And everybody was like, because I didn't have equipment. I was using my laptop, virtual DJ, hooking up from song to song, scratching with the keypad or the mouse pad, really, really tacky back then. Everybody's like, how are you doing that with just the mouse pad? You a DJ? I said, no, I'm not a DJ, but I do have a mix show or a radio host for a college radio show. And they was like, man, you should be a DJ. And I can't remember who told me that back over 8-10 years ago. I don't remember who told me, but they was like, you should do it. If you're doing that great of a transition, that great of a scratch with just a mouse pad, you should invest in some DJ equipment and be a DJ. So, okay. So 2009, I went and saved up a little money, used the college refund and buy me a board. And then I just practiced. I didn't have a mentor. Nobody in my family was a DJ. I grew up on BB King vinyl records and things like that. Like nobody was like singing or music. I just had music in my soul. So I always had an ear for music. I had to get the technology side of it. And that came in 2009. In 2009, from radio, started doing mini indie tours with artists, putting tours together. I never really was in the club until I moved to Texas in 2017, which is crazy because I was DJing since 2009 or 10-ish. So basically, I started more on the college radio side. Then I was intrigued with throwing my own events because I realized we don't get paid what we really worth when we do club events or get booked to do events, period. In my market, which is St. Louis, we always get undercutted. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just throw my own events, my own tours and things like that, and make sure I cut my own self in with what I'm worth. And from there, it gave me a chance to travel. So I've always been traveling. I'm more of like Dayna, I'm more of a traveling DJ before traveling DJs was a part of my name, because I realized you can get more challenged. I used to go to Springfield, Illinois a lot. Chicago was my second home. Went to Indiana. I went to Naptown a lot. Things like, and I went to Cincinnati out back in the day for a tour. So basically, I was more of a radio indie
Midwest
tour. Definitely Midwest. I didn't go to Texas till 17, but definitely more of a radio-based indie tour, festival throwing, fundraiser type of person. So I never really was in the club or did any frat parties. To be honest with you, I was in college and didn't do one party, which makes it bad. I didn't like to dance. So if I wasn't a DJ, I would go hang.
How you miss that? How you miss a college party?
You know, I was in college.
That's like required by law.
I was in college, but I wasn't in college, if that makes any sense. Like I was just there to be there. I didn't, and I kind of sit back and think like I really should have capitalized off of that back in the day, but you know, you can't cry over spoiled milk. It didn't happen. I just didn't do it. With that being said, I missed the aspect of being a part of frat parties, sorority parties, the steps, all that. So I love hearing the story about Saxy and anybody else that did the college, because it gives me the idea of what I should have been a part of or what I missed. But then it got to 2017. I moved to Texas for a job opportunity. I was following traveling DJs since 2015-ish, asking around, questions. Somebody linked me to Rob, went to the traveling group, inquired a lot before I actually took on the opportunity to be interviewed by Chris Umstead of Carnival. I had to ask a lot of questions. I was still nervous as crap. Got hired. And then from there, I waited until September. I was hired in April. I waited till September to go on to go do cruises, because I was scared of the change and the challenge and being away from my family. I was always a traveler, not really an only child, but I moved independently a lot. So I wasn't scared of being separated. It's just my dad, you know, he has kidney failure and all that. So I was like, I don't want to leave him. But when he's like, go and live your life, it opened up the opportunity. So that's really how I got from here to here. On top of writing, I write a lot. I do poetry. I write song reviews. All that entwines into DJ. I don't know how, but I have a degree in psychology. And because I have a degree in psychology, it helps me maneuver the mindsets of the rooms when I DJ.
Oh my goodness.
Girl, you are so sick.
You gotta know.
You know what? I'm agree with you that 1000%, because you gotta know how to read people. A lot of people don't understand, like, how do you know how to throw these songs? Like, you don't go in there with a set playlist, especially in the cruise, because you see these same people for 7 to 14 days straight, and you don't want them to memorize your set list. You know, last thing you want to know is if they know what you about to come up with next. So, you know, you got to be like, all right, I ain't playing this if this guy show up, because I know he's gonna be looking for this song. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, we got some people saying what's up. Creativity said what's up. Maria said what's up. She's on Facebook. Creativity's on Twitch. Question from a cruise director from Carnival, Mark Q. Mark Q said, working hand in hand with the CD, what is your favorite event to DJ? Now, I don't know if Dayna, do you got to work with the cruise director when you do Crystal? Do you work with the entertainment? What is it, the cruise director on there?
Yes, yeah, there's a cruise director, an assistant cruise director on Crystal, and the same on Whirl. Yeah, same thing on Whirl and Disney.
So I want to hear your experience. I want to hear your experience about working with a cruise director, because most of us work with Carnival, so we all gonna have a similar experience. But what is your experience working with a cruise director from Royal? Because your demo is way different than what we're dealing with. Do they even have kids in Crystal? Is even kids allowed on there?
Yeah. Kids are allowed.
Okay.
You see them more during like the spring break time or summer or Christmas like break time. So
right.
But yeah, I mean,
So-
but it's definitely not, I personally have, the times that I've been on a crystal ship, there's always been less than 10 kids on the ship.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, I've never actually,
Wow.
I've never DJ'd on the crystal ships when there's been a high number of kids, to be honest. Now, there was a lot of kids on Disney when I DJ'd on Disney. That was an experience.
So with that, we're gonna come back to you because I want to hear your comparison to what we're dealing with Carnival. So Erica, at the time, what was it like working with the crew? Because you worked hand in hand with the cruise director at the time, right? It was like ACD.
Yeah.
ACD was there. What was like one of your favorite events?
Well, I mean, always we had those deck parties. That's, I feel like, the biggest combination with both of us. But I've been lucky. I haven't really had the cruise directors that have been really overpowering and telling me what to do. I usually was like, hey, I'm the DJ, let me cater to the crowd. Because there's some people that are like, I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna tell you what songs to play. Like, no, you stay in your section. But I mean, I think the deck party was the biggest. Yeah, I think the deck party was the biggest, working back and forth. I don't really remember any other time. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to chime in. What other moments?
So us from Carnival, what was one of your most memorable moments or favorite event working with the CD? Because we got a CD watching, so we got to answer this question with the cruise director. I mean, I enjoyed Harry Chess, and every CD is different. Even though it's the same event, you don't know what's going to happen with certain CDs because everybody runs.
They all run it differently.
Play it safe. Some of them play it safe, and some of them just like, you know what, we going all out, and if we get in trouble, then so be it.
I was gonna say, I do like working with the ones that respect our craft and like our experience and knowledge. Instead of trying to control us, I like it when they ask us for feedback. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Or they always, very open. Actually, Crystal's very good at this. Every CD on there, and always very nice about, let me know what you think is going to work great, or let me know if you have any ideas. And they're always willing to like work with you on that, which has been awesome. Disney had a pretty strict format, and they definitely kept a close eye on you, like big time. So Royal Caribbean was a little bit more relaxed, I think, because of the higher guest count. I mean, I was on the mega ships with 5,000-6,000 passengers, 4,000-6,000 passengers. So they have more important things to kind of deal with, I think.
Right. Well, with Disney, did you have to work with the characters? I've never been on a Disney ship before. So did you have to work with the characters and the cruise director, or how was the events kind of set up with that?
Yeah, so I was on board with the crew DJ, the resident DJ. So he did most of the character dance parties, but I did get to DJ a few of them, which was fun. Those are always fun. But because there's such a very strict format with how they do those too, and specific music, those you don't get a lot of freedom. Like those are more controlled type of tutorials. But in the club, even so, I always did like the adult nightclub too every night, called the Tube. And so that's where, that was more adult oriented, open format style. But we still went in, we had a whole binder for even the guest, entertainer DJ of what to play, what not to play, things like that, of that, nature. So the ACD, it was more the ACD on Disney that I worked with. They were kind of more of my like go-to person, and they would come in and check on me in there. So but I did mostly adult parties, and I got to do I know that sounds actually terrible. I
It can be
like
taken
that.
multiple ways.
Adult parties.
Open party.
Adult parties.
The most, I was gonna say, one of the best parties like on Disney that I got to DJ for the entire ship, or whoever wanted to come, was they always throw a big deck party. All of the voyages actually that I was on, like, because there are two cruise ships, the Fantasy and the Dream were always the one doing the Caribbean route, and so they always did a Pirates of the Caribbean deck party, and so they had a whole Pirates of the Caribbean theme show, and at the very end they shot off fireworks, and then that's when I took over and I did the big giant family dance party up on deck, which is so fun. So that was, everybody. That was all family.
We didn't have fireworks on Carnival.
Fireworks. What? Alpha code.
Yeah.
That's Disney.
Yeah.
No fireworks.
Right? Yeah,
So,
that's amazing.
So what was one of the memorable moments? Like, I don't even want to put y'all out there for the carnival. Favorite cruise director?
Oh,
Carnival
why you gotta
DJs.
do us like
Oh,
that?
I know. Jeez.
All right,
Right.
fine,
They might be
fine. All right,
watching.
wait. All right. Favorite event, favorite cruise director. Let's talk about the event. Because a lot of people don't realize like the events we
varies.
do on board. So from trivia parties to rocker promenade, like some rocker promenades are crazy, to the booty shaking. Like the last one we did was talking about the booty shaking contest in the club on like the Magic when I worked with Everson, you know. But I didn't work with deck parties with Mikey and Mike Pack and, you know, so many different people. But what was that memorable moment? Like, man, this guy, don't even say this guy or girl is like crazy and this is like the best party ever. All right, Saxy.
Oh.
It's fine, girl. It's fine.
It varies. It varies though, because like every cruise director you click differently. It's a different vibe, right? So I mean, we have the cruise directors that are old school, new school, and you have the ones that are a little bit of both. But it's got to be hard. Okay, I want to say when it comes to deck parties, and I have to say two names. I can't say one. I'm sorry. When it comes to deck parties, because in New Orleans, when it comes to deck parties, I had Simon London and I had Adam Corns. Deck party with those two, oh my goodness. We actually would sit down and go over deck party. All right, this week we have more kids, we're gonna do this or do that. And they would actually ask me, hey Saxy, what's the hottest dance for the kids? And can you teach it to me? So I mean, doing that and just watching those guys, like our connection was so on point, to the point where when they were ready to end the song, I was already mixing the next song in. They don't even have to look at me and be like, next song. I'm already doing it because I just vibe with them so well. So when it comes to the deck party, I love it with those two. But I also enjoy doing those atrium parties that a lot of DJs don't like doing. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
I had the Flying Scotsman. If you ever worked the Flying Scotsman, his atrium parties are just insane. And for me, when I was working with him, he was like, oh my God, Saxy, I love when you're here. I love the way you DJ. I love the way you just know how to, he just, you know, it's just another one of those things, the way everything just flows together. And with him, I was really myself. I was on the microphone half the time. We were talking back and forth on the mic. That's just me. I love when cruise directors let me be myself. I'm on the microphone giving you jokes. You give me jokes, you know. The vibe. I just love the vibe.
So I'm gonna throw the Whitney, because she worked with two companies, Carnival and Princess. So you have a cruise director on Princess is a parent company of Carnival for anybody watching. They're under the Carnival court. So, but it's still two different brands, two different clienteles. What was the change from Carnival to Princess, Whitney? Because I hear stories. I hear stories.
I'll throw out there, I also did celebrity too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought you'd done celebrity because we both did.
So you have three. All right, we want to hear a comparison of all three now. And what people don't like, we got to explain. Once I explain to people, the cruise director is basically the person running a lot of these events that we are part of. They're the voice you hear on the PA. They're the voice you hear at all events. You know, we work hand in hand. So, you know, it's the hype man. You know, it's the DJ and the rapper. You know, they're the rapper with the DJ in the back of them. So, you know, so tell us the difference between the three cruise lines.
Honestly, it's the demographics plays a huge role. With Princess, it's older demographics and longer cruises. Carnival, you know, it's the fun ship, it's the turn up party ship. Celebrity, very innovative. They are very innovative. And I've worked with a lot of different great cruise directors, but
hold on. Go back. Wait. Go back to innovate. I want to hear the innovators. Go explain more of that, because inquiring minds want to know how innovative. What's the innovation with celebrity? Because they ships look pretty nice.
I would just say like with technology, you know, like with the headphones, the silent disco.
Yeah.
The silent disco. We did the silent disco party in like the atrium. That was a lot of fun. And the cruise director was on the mic as well. So that was a good time. With Princess, older demographics, I mean, people still get up and dance and have a great time. But I mean, it's not a carnival cruise. Like it's you have, like I said, older demographics and people are still there having a good time, but you won't see people twerking, like especially not on the pool deck and stuff like that, or hardly even in the nightclub for real. You know, but it's still clean fun. Of course, I did some stuff on Carnival, and I remember a time I wasn't actually DJing at this time, but I was helping with some assistant stuff. But I don't remember what it was called, but it was like I think you had to be 21 or up. And it was
the gender
it was like a battle of the sexes or something like that.
Gender
Quest
showdown.
Gender
Quest.
showdown. That was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Like just helping out with that. I wasn't playing any music, but just helping out with that. That was a lot of fun. Like, but just I enjoy working with fun cruise directors. I've had some cruise directors that were just really cool, had my back, like when some equipment crashed type thing. And it makes a big difference when you have a good connection and a good relationship with your cruise director.
All right, so I'm gonna throw it out because we got Whit on the spot. So we're gonna go back to this Qatar. I want to know about how you wind up in Qatar. And Saxy, you're not getting off the
I was
hook
just gonna say, you're not.
because Saxy's stuck in Australia, and then I want to hear about Dayna picking her favorite ships. Dayna picks her contracts off the ports. I'm just gonna throw it out there, but we all do. We all
Who doesn't?
we all look at where the ship is going. Like, I ain't trying to go to Freeport every week.
Sometimes we don't have a choice, though.
Sometimes, sometimes. I mean, believe me, I'll be looking. So, how did you wind up in Qatar from cruise ships to Qatar?
So after my cruise contract with Carnival, you know, that was a nice long 6-month contract. I was back home and I was just like, okay, just doing research. Like there has to be other stuff out there. And I came across like DJs that do beach resorts and stuff like that and 5-star hotels. So I did more research. And I reached back out to Rob from Traveling DJ. I'm like, Rob, can you find me like a DJ residency overseas? He was like, I'll see what I can do. Months went by. I had honestly forgot about it. And then one day, I had a part-time job at that time. I was serving tables. One day I was about to go to work and Rob sent me a message on Messenger. He said, hey, can you be on video in 5 minutes for a DJ residency in Doha, Qatar? I called off of work so quick. And that day my life changed. Like I said yes before I even knew where Doha, Qatar was. I just knew I was in a situation where I was ready to be up and back out, exercising my craft every day. So yeah, I got the opportunity through Rob and just with research, you know, I seen that it was a great opportunity to go to a different market. And I also worked with another agency that Rob connected me with. So that helped.
What was one of the big transitions going from Ohio to cruise ships to Qatar, like the Middle East?
Honestly, it was completely different. Qatar, if you don't know where it's located, it's in the Middle East. It's located right near Dubai and Saudi Arabia. It's a Muslim country, very conservative. And you know, back when I went, I dressed completely different. Like I was a tomboy. And I was scared because I was looking at some of their laws and stuff, and it was just so strict. You know, some of them countries out there, they
no
have
kissing in public or something.
Yes, no holding hands, and just to take it to a whole nother level. In some Middle Eastern countries, like if you're into same sex type thing, like they kill you. So, you know, so I was like, you know, a little nervous about taking this opportunity, but you know, I'm like, what am I going to do at home? You know, I didn't have another cruise ship opportunity lined up. So I'm like, I can do this, you know? So I prepared music, and my first residency was at a bar. It was like a restaurant bar in a 5-star hotel. It was like a man cave. It's a male dominated country. So it was like a man cave, but you know, I went there and I just did my thing. I was friendly. I mixed it up. And, but the hardest thing was just adjusting to the culture. I look different. People, you don't have to cover up out there with an abaya and stuff like that. People were covered up. I look different, and you know, sound
Do
different.
you have any videos on your page or anything that we could
You know
see?
what?
I'm so intrigued.
I have some stuff on my YouTube. I honestly need to do a better job at posting. And I have like a whole bunch of stuff and I will post it. But I'll add you on Instagram and I'll send you one of my vlogs that I have on YouTube.
I want to see it too.
I got
Fire
you
mine, I
guys.
wanna see.
I got you.
So I'm gonna throw it
What
down.
kind of music though?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did they
yeah.
play any kind of music, or what was that like?
So, you know, it's an international hub. So you have a lot of different cultures. So you definitely want to mix it up. For me, I got really big into Afro beats. Afro beats are really hot out there. Of course,
Oh, wow.
house music. Hip hop and R&B is big, but they don't like the majority are not really into the mumble rap. They're really big on our golden age throwback stuff. You know,
Right.
50 Cent, your Ja Rule. They bring Ja Rule there like
90s.
every year to perform.
Ooh, nice.
You know, so yeah, it's super open. They love good music. That's one thing I can say. Really good music. They appreciate good music.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
how many hours did you work?
You know, sometimes I feel bad for saying this, but it's just like I worked hard to get here. But I worked 4 hours a day, 6 days a week. You had 1 day off. And it's like that for some cruise DJs, like your guest entertainers, like our shifts are like four up to 6 hours max for me on
But
Princess.
those 4 hours, people have to understand, 4 hours, you get mentally exhausted too.
Oh, yeah.
Just because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
thinking of what to play, how to read people. I mean, it's people that go 4 hours, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
You're working.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Especially
we
for
all
us
know
mobile.
about that.
Go ahead.
Right. So
Go.
anybody else in the group got any questions? I mean, because I never been to the Middle East to DJ. You know, I don't know how many other people on the chat been in the Middle East, but I was inquiring when she mentioned that. I was like, that sounds dope. I mean, it's
cool.
It's different.
I just think of the movie Sex and the City when they go to Dubai and then in the nightclub. In the nightclub, like all hell breaks loose and they can like wear what they want and dance how they want. But then outside of that, they're covered, like with this covered, completely covered.
Yeah.
Dubai is a little bit Dubai's a little bit more less conservative than Qatar. Definitely.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew.
So Saxy, let us hear about your adventure to Australia and getting stuck. I won't say stuck, but having a
Stuck is a bad word.
Don't say stuck.
a temporary pause.
A temporary.
Well, we're glad you're safe. That's
Right.
important.
Yeah, pause, right. So we want to hear this story because I was following all your stuff and we was chatting back and forth, just checking on each other, you know. So when did you go to Australia originally? When did your contract start?
I started in January. So towards the end of January, I went to Australia to do my lovely 4-month contract. And yeah, it was great. You know, it was my first time going to Australia. I was looking forward to it. I finally was able to get one of the Australian ships because it was on my checkoff list for a while with Carnival, you know. And yeah, then COVID-19 came along and ruined all my dreams.
So what was the process, if you can share? I know we got some policies out there, but what was what went on from March? I think everything stopped March 14th because the Australian ships stopped the week after the US ships, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay. So
we did go a little longer.
Process? Yeah, what was the process from you pausing to getting home? How long was you out at sea?
Oh, about 70 days.
And what was the process?
You're at sea? 70 days?
She was.
Yeah.
Oh wow, one of those.
So yeah, it was very interesting. So after the pause, we were actually in the middle of a cruise because the US ship stopped a week before us. We ended up we were on a 5-day cruise. It was St. Patrick's Day. I won't forget it. We were on day 2 of the 5-day cruise. And the captain had to make an announcement telling everybody that we had to go back to Sydney, to home port. So, as you can imagine, that was a wonderful night on the ship with all the guests. A 5-day cruise getting turned into a 2-day cruise, basically. After that, we got all the guests off board and we went back to sea. We were just anchored right outside of Sydney for a while. Then we waited for more info with the pause going on. So with that happening, it was just all crew members on board our ship. We didn't have any guests at all.
And how long is this right now? Is this like a couple days, or where are we in right now?
A couple of days. So a couple of days.
Okay.
It was after we got all the guests off, we went and we were just anchored at sea. And at that point, it was just us. We were still working at that time. We were still clocking in to do little odd jobs for us in entertainment. It wasn't much. We were just cleaning our areas. I got with the sound techs. We got the speakers sounding nice, all those lovely things that you wish you had time to do, but you don't have time to do. We got the light program in the nightclub looking nice. So we were working on all the technical details, not knowing, how long the pause was going to be. So we did do that. And after a while, we were still able to, because it was just crew on board. So a couple of days after, we were able to have crew bar open. And we were only able to do like, I would DJ one night, duo would do another night, the band would do another night, but all in the midst of practicing social distancing. So it was very strange. If you can imagine how small crew bar was. So we actually moved it into like the pub area, and we had all these little squares down by all the tables, how to order your drinks from the bar, how to order this, where to stand in line. We're just living off squares and lines, and gotta stand in this square, stand in that square.
Yes,
Can't like it was in Ohio, right?
Oh, wow.
Can't dance. Too many people on the dance floor. We gotta social distance, So of course, the mindset, the first couple of weeks was just like, oh yeah, all right, short hours.
Yeah.
But when that 2 weeks turned into a month, and then it turned into 2 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was very interesting. But luckily for me on our ship, we didn't have any outbreaks whatsoever. We all, we're social distancing, checking in with doctors, doing temp checks. We were great on our ship. We didn't have any incidents at all, thank God.
Now, did you get paid during this time though, or are you not allowed to say that for reasons?
What was that?
Did you get paid during this entire months you were stuck there, or you didn't, or are we not allowed to answer that question?
Okay, we can't discuss that. We can't discuss that.
We can't discuss that. I'll just say we were very well taken care of.
I was gonna say, like,
it was in the email.
I was gonna say, as women, we get monthly cycles where they like, what if you ran out of pads or tampons?
Yes. What about that? Yeah.
Okay, so that gets on into why we're still there. So what happened was, we were sitting in Australia, and Australia's government wanted all of the ships out of their waters. So we had to figure out where we were going. So we were able to get a shipment onto the ship before we left, and we took our journey to the Philippines. We took a very, very, very slow trip to the Philippines to preserve gas, as you can imagine.
Oh my God.
All of this while social distancing on the ship, and that, it was different, because you want to play cards. It's like, how many of us can sit in one room and play cards? And like, no, only one person per cabin. We had to go in public areas, and you could probably sit in groups of like 2 or 3 at a time. And it was very interesting.
So I have a quick question about that. The social distancing, though, at what point do they make you do that this entire few months, even though you've all been tested negative from the get-go? They still required you to social distance that entire time?
Yeah, we all had to practice. We all had to practice social distancing.
Wow.
And that's when we, because we changed from Australia to Philippines. So the Philippine government, same thing. We all had to continue practicing social distancing. As you can imagine, some of us were getting low on those personal items like soap, toothpaste. It got to the point where we were all in a Facebook chat group, and like, hey, anybody have shampoo left? Hey, anybody have toothpaste? I got an extra one in my case. Or, we were just all like sharing and passing stuff around. But we did get some more items on board, and they sold it to us through the gift shop. We had free internet. Yeah, they sold it through the gift shop.
Internet, yep, free internet.
Yeah, we had free internet.
Okay.
So we were able to communicate with everyone outside with that. So luckily we did have that.
Right.
I mean, the meals were great. When we first started, we were eating in all the guest areas. So we eat guest food. We weren't eating crew food anymore. That all lasted about a month. And then and then it was not so much peanut butter and jelly. I ate a lot of dal. Like a lot of those Indian dishes with the Indian chefs.
Wow.
I ate a lot
spicy.
of
Spicy.
Yeah,
no, it's gonna be spicy.
Yeah.
Can't do it. So I remember, I'm gonna fast forward to this piece. Mm-hmm. For you to get home, you had to transfer ships. So how did you get from one ship to the next ship? Because I remember the pictures you posted. So how did they get you from ship to ship?
So we were actually the first ship to do.
And what month is
transfer.
This at? Wait, Saxy, what month is this at that you're going into another ship?
This is April.
Okay.
So we basically did a ship to ship transfer with our luggage using the the lifeboats and the tenders.
Oh yeah.
So we packed inside of those, and we basically did a ship to ship transfer at
with
sea.
Your luggage, with the luggage,
with your luggage, with our luggage. So we were basically passing each other's luggage down the line, and the guys were loading the luggage on one side of the tender, and we were all going down under the tender. So it was a very interesting process. That was very interesting.
Were you scared?
So I was looking at them like, how y'all put all the luggage on one side? Y'all sure we okay? In my mind, I'm like,
Putu got you.
150 people.
Got
all right, we good. How many of us going? And you can imagine, like, we're in the Philippines, right? It's hot. It's hot. You got your face mask on. You've got all this stuff on. You're getting down into those tender boats, and you're transferring over. But we got there, and as soon as we transferred, we ended up staying on the ship almost another 30 days because they were trying to get our flights because at the time we couldn't fly home. We couldn't leave the Philippines. Wow. We couldn't fly to the US or London or wherever we were going. Finally, we got the okay from the Philippine government to go, and they all came on board. And our all the Philippine nationalities did a 14-day quarantine, and they all got tested for coronavirus, which were all negative. After that, they were like, okay, now you can get flights home. So finally, time to get flights home. We couldn't dock at the pier. Same thing. We had to get the tender boats and go to land. Then we got to the Philippines. We got to London. My flight went to Qatar. From Qatar to London. Then got to London and got stuck. So we're in the airport in London, and basically, we can't get your flights. You might have to get a flight tomorrow, because we were all taking a charter flight. And a charter flight was basically everyone that they could go home on one flight. So we took one big charter flight from the Philippines to London, and it did a stop in Qatar. And so you got that feeling like I'm almost home. And then you get to the airport in London, it's like, wait, where are you going? US, okay, this way. And you're running down the airport, and they're like, oh, you can't get that flight today. We'll have to get you tomorrow. We have to try to get you a flight tomorrow. And it's just that feeling of, wow, so close. So we were actually stuck in London. And luckily, Carnival's agency, the booking agency, they were a phone call away, a couple of emails away. We got hotel rooms. So we got transportation to a hotel, sat in the hotel room. Okay, we're going to regroup, retry this tomorrow. I was lucky to get a flight the next day. Some people ended up getting flights 2 or 3 days later, but all the people in the US pretty much the next day were able to get flights. And when we got into the US, we got into Chicago.
Oh my God.
What? There's more?
It's like
You're getting close.
Chicago.
You're getting closer.
It's almost there. It's almost there.
You're almost there.
It was just like going through the airport and they take you in these rooms, like asking all these questions. Where have you been? Where were you there before that day? Were you in this country? Were you in this country? You were in a cruise ship. So I had all my paperwork in my hand. I'm COVID free. Let me in the US.
Oh, geez.
Dang.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I mean, it was a journey.
Wow.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget the team that I was with. I'm so happy that I was with such a amazing group of people to be stuck with. And I told them that several times. I'm like, of all the people in the world to be stuck with, I'm glad I'm stuck with you.
So what was the date you got home?
I got home.
What date was it?
The date. I can't remember the date exactly. I don't put it behind me. It's like
so 4-month contract basically turned to 6 months.
and it was like the end of May.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember that.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
You came
So,
home. You
yeah.
came home the end of May. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just so close. And my whole thing was, I gotta get home before my son's birthday. That's all. That's all I was worried about at that time. Because I was like, I cannot do another month here. I'm gonna lose it if I'm not home for my son's birthday. I was gonna lose it. But we basically did 68 days sitting at sea, anchored at sea. And that's an experience that I will not forget. And there's actually still some crew members that are at sea. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough there. Luckily I had a great support group on board. My whole team, we were all like family. We worked so close together. So I was lucky.
So you still want to go back to ship after this?
Yeah. That's what I wanted to know.
You know, everyone has been asking me that. I'm like, I know you're not going back after that. And you know, it's one of those things that actually, you know, when you can't control it, when this whole thing happened, you can't control it. And the way that the company that I worked for responded and the way that they took care of us and made sure we had these certain things, and then me hearing how some other people were struggling, you know, I was okay. So I would return. I would return.
Round of applause, girl.
Yeah, I was taken care of. One thing I can say, I was taken care of.
So
That's awesome though. That's great. You're good company there.
Was anybody else out of sea?
I was at sea. I went on the 8th of March. My length, I couldn't make it as long as Saxy did. I was going crazy. Not crazy, but like I was so close to home. Like we were stationed in Galveston, Texas. I stayed in Fort Worth. I was like this close where I could have drove home. I didn't need a flight. I didn't need any of that, but because of the government, we couldn't get off. They wouldn't let us stay in Galveston. We had to go to Gulfport, Mississippi. This was March 14th. I boarded on March 8th. March 14th, we shut down. So I had one good week of a cruise, which I was getting into. I came back from a long vacation. I was ready to go to work. So we stopped service on the 14th. We stayed in Galveston for a few days before they decided that we needed to be relocated because no ships could be in ports. So we ended up going to Gulfport. We stayed there for a while. We had to anchor at sea for about 7 days out of my 30 days of staying there. I got off when the Philippines and Indonesians, their government got them a charter. So because they got them a charter, they were able to get off the ship. And it was only a small group of Americans. And we were like, look, we're in Galveston. We don't need a flight. We can drive home if we need to. Just let us off. Because basically we're running low on things. The living situation, it was good. But the food, it was just like we were ready to go. Not nothing against the Carnival. It was just like, okay, we getting told so much different stuff. The government saying one thing and this. So we were just like, okay, look, we're here. We don't need flights to Carnival. We will relieve you from getting us flights. We will drive home. So some people drove to Philadelphia. Somebody drove all the way to Florida. I drove from Texas to St. Louis. I was just happy because I was getting to the point where I wasn't as stable as I used to be. It is definitely a mental draining. I had a good group, but when they started separating us and said we couldn't leave our cabins because of social distancing, and it became more of like I don't like saying this word, but it became more like I was isolated even more than what I already was. So
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a good experience, but I was like, I was ready to get off because we were that close.
Yeah.
We were that close to home. Like we were at Texas and we were in a US port. So it was like, just, you know, let us off. We'll do what we need to do. So I only was there for a month. And when I got home, I tell you, I didn't talk to nobody for a whole week. I was just like, look, I need to recap. I need to eat my Chinese food. I need to see my dad, hug my nieces, people that I actually miss when I leave. I will miss them even more. Like, I need to see you. So
that's different when you're looking at home.
Yeah.
At least you in the States.
Cabin. I was grateful. I had a balcony cabin and I was able to see it. But that made it even.
That's even worse.
Even more like I'm there. Like just
I was excited to get that balcony cabin when they moved us and said all crew members to guest cabins with balcony. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I was like that. I was 100%. And some crew stayed in their crew cabins because they were either coupled and they didn't have a space. So other people split it up and got balconies. Some people didn't get balconies. So when people were like, you're not letting us out of our cabin, and those without windows, they took it even harder than us because they couldn't leave their cabins. They didn't have any windows.
I couldn't imagine.
So it's nothing.
Anybody else out there? Dayna, was you out to sea during that time?
Yeah,
Because I remember you had just left. We had just talked.
Yeah,
you just leaving.
I was out there too.
Did you make it?
Oh shoot!
We were all stuck.
Yeah, my story though it's funny, just a different variation. So my contract was 4 weeks, and I got on the ship very beginning of February 1st, actually, in Guam. And then the voyage was going from Guam to like Saipan, and it was supposed to go to like Hong Kong, Philippines, and then hit up Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore. So, well, at the end of January, if you recall, that's when things started,
overseas.
Yeah, and that's when the coronavirus was starting to escalate over in China. So heading over, I was a little apprehensive because I was going right into that area, but I was, confident that I would be well taken care of if anything were to happen. And I did have to fly through South Korea airport, which
oh goodness.
So I was like, okay, well, I already went out and bought masks ahead of time, and I just decided, well, I'm not going to go anywhere. Because at first I can't wait to get to South Korea, even though I was only there for like 20 hours. I was like, I'm going to go explore. I can't wait because I'm just like love exploring all the new cities, but not in this case. I was like, I think I'm just going to stay in the hotel, put my mask on and but I ended up being so exhausted from traveling anyways. I didn't feel like leaving the hotel, to be honest. I was so burnt from that flight over there. So but I got to the ship fine and got on, and then, they ended up actually had to change itinerary already before I got on the ship because we were supposed to stop in Hong Kong, but that ended up getting pulled from the list of places that cruises were allowed to stop at even before I got on the ship. And this, like I said, this is beginning of February. So, so they had changed it to Taiwan, but then en route to Taiwan decided to close their ports to cruises. So then they had to reroute again, and we were trying to figure out where to go. The Philippines were also skeptical. So then we basically ended up being out at sea for a little over 2 weeks, just kind of trying to find a port that would allow us in. So we got to Singapore, allowed us to come in. So we went there, and that was the end port for that particular voyage anyway. So we just ended up getting there obviously a lot earlier. And once we got to Singapore, we had to follow all of the protocol, getting temperature checks twice a day at certain times. They didn't make us though do any social distancing at that time. They just had us do the temperature checks and just monitor, health symptoms and stuff. So once we got to Singapore, then Singapore made us go through this whole health check again and go through thermal ray imaging with the temperature checks to get us cleared. So we had to wait a couple days. I can't remember if it was a couple days till we got cleared to get off the ship. So then once we were all cleared to get off the ship, then we were in Singapore for 4 days actually. So everybody was able to freely come and go as usual, just getting your temperature checked on and off the ship. And then that voyage ended. That was a 2-week voyage total. And then the next voyage, the next group of passengers came in. Now that, of course, by then things really had escalated with the virus over in China and over in Southeast Asia. So we had a much, much smaller guest count for the second voyage, but the ship, we decided to continue to go because it was still considered safe in some of those ports, actually, down in Vietnam and Cambodia and Singapore. So it still was considered safe to travel there. So we did. So I ended up getting to experience a lot of amazing ports in Vietnam, and I love Singapore and Cambodia and Thailand. Stopped in Thailand. So we had a small, intimate group with us. Everybody was awesome. Everybody loved the experience. We made it extra fun for them too, with lots of entertainment. So like I said, it was a small guest count. It was like 120 guests.
When did you get back to the States? Or
yeah. That voyage was scheduled to end. We ended in Singapore on May. So it was March 1st. Yeah. So that was the end of the voyage, and we all were able to get off and get home safely. So I had no issues traveling back.
He just missed the cutoff. Yeah. 2 weeks. Could have had 2 weeks. You've been there for.
I mean, literally, we just missed it. Like, if it had been a few days later, honestly, I probably would have. Yeah, it probably would have been a different story.
Wow.
Close.
Did you all have a different experience as females out to sea? Like Erica brought that up, being females out to sea versus some of your male counterparts needing those extra products that females may need. Was it an issue on board?
Not in my case, actually. I mean, because we had enough
as a female versus,
because it was like 2 weeks. So for me, being 2 weeks out at sea, I had enough. But I had that thought did cross my mind, though. I was thinking, what if the shop on board runs out? And I did think about that.
It happened. In my case, it happened. The shop did run out.
Wow. Oh, did it?
The shop did run out.
They ran out.
We were pretty much just doing like the sisterly love, like share. Like we all pretty much, like I said, we were such family knit, and because of the situation, some of us became even closer. So it became a sharing family. Do you need this? Do you need that? Because we honestly, you didn't know at the time when we would be able to get another shipment of supplies into the ship. So if you're like in between and you're just hustling out, okay, like I need this, I need, literally just sharing with different people from different departments. And I mean, we just like all made it work until we got, another shipment of supplies in. But it did happen.
Man, that's crazy.
You can't be hoarders like some of these, you can't
be a hoarder. And if you're a mean person, that is the time to be the nicest person in the world.
Yeah. I had a lot of stuff left because I just boarded, so I was still packed up for about 6 months. For about 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay, but it crossed my mind.
So look, I don't want to keep y'all on too much longer because I said it's an hour and we already passed that point. I know everybody got stuff to do. So here we are in a pandemic. No one's cruising. The resorts are closed. What are you doing during the pandemic? And, are you ready to go back on the ship? What's your plans once stuff do open back up? I know Whit is ready to go back to Qatar. She can't wait to leave. Erica, what are you doing? Are you doing events where you at right now? Have they opened clubs and venues and restaurants and wherever else? Or
I'm more of the mobile DJ, so I do a lot of weddings and graduation parties. Weddings have been pushed back to 2021. I have a wedding coming up in August, so that's going to be outside. So there's some weddings that want to be outside, but some of them are just like, no, we'll wait until we're inside again and have an actual wedding like we want to. But with you guys in the ships, I'm like, with you talking about all this work and 7 days a week, I'd be like, now put me on a ship. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
It's a lifestyle. I tell people that it's a lifestyle, you got to want to do it, but yeah, going from the weekend, believe me, when I go from weddings straight to going to the ship, I'm burnt out after the first month, and I usually push through it for the next time. So Whit, what are you up to right now? Off the ships, not in the resorts in Ohio. What's going on with you right now?
Man, a little bit of everything, honestly. Since this whole pandemic thing popped off, I've had a chance to just tap into some of the other things that I'm passionate about, which is, people, interviews, stuff like that. I started a business with my husband called Afala. So we're selling African print face mask right now. So that's what we're focusing on. I have been DJing. Dayna actually had me cover for her. I think it was last week. So shout out to DJ Dayna. I appreciate that.
The rooftop. Was you on the rooftop?
Yeah, Vassos. Good vibe. This Sunday, I'm putting an event together with my mom, and because my mom sings and I'll be DJing, and it's going to be like brunch style, social distancing, networking opportunities for creative professionals at a restaurant. So we're just trying out different things and just tapping into everything. Like right now is a great time to do anything you're passionate about.
All right, there we go. Pandemic, everybody idle. MosPrecious, what you got, like 20 jobs. What's 5 of the 20 jobs you focusing on right now? She got turn your mic on. Turn your mic. Unmute. Did she even know she even muted? There she go.
I didn't even know I was muted. I didn't even know.
There we go.
But first of all, everybody, my birthday is Monday, so I've been on the professional level this whole time, handling myself very nicely. Just to let you guys know. But I own a company. It's a promotional company. I've had it since 2010. So basically, when I joined the ships, I neglected it a lot. So I'm able now to focus on the services my company offers, which is social media managing, song reviews, interview sets up, DJ network, all that stuff. I'm doing it a lot more now. Traveling. Just to be honest, I posted on Facebook. I just officially got my first gig since I've been home, which is crazy because I don't necessarily promote my DJing because I'm burnt out. I'm still burnt out, and I've been home for a very long time. So people are like, you love the DJ. I'm just like, guys, when you start on ship for 6 months straight, you're going to understand why I say and do what I do, because it's not an easy flip to switch back over and DJ right away. You have to reset your mind and all that type of stuff. So basically, I'm just really running my company, which is MosPrecious Promotions, doing a lot of indie artists, campaigning, social media management to a T. And that's really it.
There you go. See, a lot of stuff.
I do 5 jobs. No, I just zoomed it down to 1.
Right. There we go. So Saxy, what are you up to? What are you up to right now? Off the ship, after that adventure, during the adventure. we all gonna be sitting here like Saxy's adventure. Woo!
That's a story, man. That's a story right there.
That definitely was not the way I wanted to see London.
Definitely not.
No way. Yeah. But for me, after COVID, so I actually did my first 2 events since I've been home. July 4th weekend, the Friday and Saturday, I did small family gatherings, barbecue events. I had to make myself get comfortable going back into COVID because, as you know, right now I'm in the Atlanta area, and we are pretty high on the numbers with COVID. So I come up with some ways to make myself feel comfortable, and now I'm back at it. Other than that, just waiting on some events to happen because a lot of the weddings got pushed back. I'm supposed to be knee deep in weddings right now, but they all got pushed back to next year, or actually some got pushed back into the winter season. So we'll see how that goes. I've also been working on my business. I'm getting everything together. Other than that, I've been playing TT Saxy for the last few weeks because my family members are going back to work and I'm at home. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm at home. Drop the kids off." So I've been running the Saxy daycare for the last 2 weeks.
Entrepreneur.
I've been running.
Are you offering DJ classes? Are you offering DJ classes?
Get it.
We've been doing it. I've been YouTubing and learning all the new Kitty songs, and I know them by heart now. I'm telling you, it's been interesting. Just what I've been doing on the side because COVID's still going on, and a lot of my family members still are not trusting the the system. They don't want to send the kids back. So I'm like, hey, I'm not doing anything right now. Send them to me.
DJ Decade from Traveling DJs on Twitch
That's
he said the numbers in Miami. He said nothing like the numbers in Miami. So he's saying y'all gotta stop. I can only
man,
imagine.
I'm telling you. Like I said, I got a call.
Miami red.
I got a call, man. I turned it down because I'm not comfortable with the bars here yet. I'm just not comfortable quite yet. Even if I have my mask on, people trying to walk up and request and all. I'm not quite comfortable. So I'll be mobile for now, like weddings and the events that aren't as crazy, insane, like a bar and nightclub.
More control.
So
More control. Yeah.
Right. So the 2 barbecues I did, that was great. I have another event coming up in the next weekend. Little family events. That's it for now until the numbers go down a bit more.
That's the safe way to do it. So Dayna, what are you up to besides giving Whitney these events and don't call me up for anything? I had to throw it in there.
You're all the way in Athens.
I know. Athens.
Yeah.
So what are you up to, Dayna? Because you've been doing podcasts.
I've been doing a lot of different. I've had my hand. I've been doing a lot of different stuff since March. I mean, at the beginning, initially, it was a lot of, I'd say, like damage control and client managing all of the postponements. I mean, that took up a lot of time, just trying to attend to my clients and get them sorted out, because I had a pretty full spring and summer of like weddings and charity events and corporate events. So that was a big part of it, and still is a little bit. But I also looked at this as an opportunity, like a lot of other people, to slow down, pause a little bit, reflect. I've been doing a lot personally. I've been doing a lot of self-care, and I've been on this deep diving really deep in the mud with a personal development journey. So I've been doing that. And then I've been also freelance writing for, I've always been a freelance writer, but I picked up writing for my MP3 pool blog. So I've been doing feature stories, interviewing DJs from all the world and sharing their unique story. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been doing that as well. And then also, what else have I been doing? Well, you mentioned podcasts. I haven't started my own podcast yet, but that's on my list. So I've been dabbling, just kind of looking and exploring other options, like other, revenue streams, and seeing what else is out there, because I would love to see, I think there's more out there for me than DJing. And then I feel like this is a great opportunity to explore that and see. And I'm also taking some of those master classes online, writing. I'm taking a writing course right now about storytelling. So that's cool.
See, there we go. Wow.
And then
and using that time. Using that time wisely, I found myself being busier when they said stay home and stay sheltered. And I had to close up my store for like a couple weeks. I'm like, I feel like I'm doing more now that I'm at home, because I was trying to play damage control with clients, trying to persuade, please don't cancel, reschedule. We can find. I'll work a Tuesday if I have to. Let me know, but just don't cancel. So that was what I did for basically 2 weeks. I was sitting at home, which most of us probably did with everything going on.
Well, I'm lucky because I sell medical supplies. So
bam, business booming.
There we go.
Booming.
Essential.
I know.
Erica,
am I in the right job or what?
12 hours.
Yeah, you chose the right job.
What was you working Sundays? They have you on Sundays? Did you working 7 days a week for the medical supplies, Erica?
Yeah, I have doctors texting me now for stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
so look, throw out some words of encouragement to a young female DJ looking to expand her career, no matter where she may be at, from wherever, doing nightclubs, if she's looking to get on cruise ships or get into a 5-star resort overseas. What's some advice? What's some good advice? Who want to go first? Good advice. We should have Dayna with her master classes in storytelling.
Oh yeah. All doing class
Yes.
on Carnival cruise ships.
So seriously, because
Cruise
most
ships,
of us been in the game for at least a decade, you know. So and a lot has changed in a decade. I mean, just the overall DJ game has changed. You know, we all probably started with records to CDs. Now it's like, oh, I gotta have the newest MacBook. You know, it's like, do they even have a CD player in the club? You know, so what's some words of encouragement? You know, it's a lot. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, I say just always look for the next adventure and don't take no for an answer. You know, if you feel this is your passion, don't take no for an answer. And now when I was starting off, it wasn't the resources. Like this right here is a resource. I do this because I want to help the next person that may be looking like, hey, what's the opportunities out there outside my bedroom or outside my small town in Ohio or in the Midwest of the United States or down in the bottom of Mississippi? You know, what, because we all come, I mean, Erica probably live in one of the biggest areas of the group, you know, but what's some encouragement out there? Erica, there we go. Look, she's thinking now. Because you started this game 11, 12 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, like you said, it's an adventure and you have to take life like that. And I mean, I did it. I didn't have a family. I'm single, you know, I started at 23 or something. And it's so much fun. It really is. Like we all like become family. You know, I don't know you guys, but I'm already feel connected to you in a way. And, you know, we are one big family. Everybody from different nationalities, we all get along. And that's what's crazy. We can't get along in this world like that. But when you're on a ship, we all are just one, and it's an adventure and it's full of fun and experiences and excitement. So I always say, just go for it.
All right.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah.
So Dayna, what you want to add on to it?
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as cruise ship DJing goes, I totally agree with Erica. I mean, it's just such a great opportunity and experience overall, everything about it, the people you meet. I mean, I have some of my best memories of both DJing and just the travel experience and the people I've met. I mean, I have Rolodex, you know, I'm going old school there, Rolodex of people that I've met on the cruise ships that I'm still friends with to this day, like all over the world, that, I mean, I could go visit. I mean, open door policy. I could go visit them at a drop of a hat, you know, if I want to. So I love all of that. So I always like recommend it. I know, and I don't know what it's like to apply as a crew DJ though. So I'm not sure what the term, I mean, is it competitive? I don't know that. Like, and a lot of people, when they reach out to me too, I can only speak from what my experience has been as a guest. And I know that those positions are super rare and few and far between. So it's really hard, you know, for me to give advice trying to get into my exact positions. I feel super blessed to like have been able to get my foot in the door this way and been able to maintain it and consistency. But I definitely think, you know, yeah, go for it, you know, and find your own style and get connected with the right people, have the right support system. Practice. Yeah, I got shadow.
MosPrecious. What's some words of encouragement? Somebody like you 5 years ago trying to get on the ship, what would you tell them if you talk to someone like you 5 years ago?
Research. Don't be afraid to network and reach out to people that are in the field you want to be in, whether it's cruise ships, club DJing, travel, and whatever. Just be inquisitive about whatever decision you decide to do, and don't let anybody tell you can't do it. There's always going to be somebody that will say that to you. Whether sex doesn't matter, they will say that because they want to do it, but they don't know how. So be strong, no matter what field you're in, to accomplish that goal that you never knew you can do, but you want to do it. That's what I have to say.
There you go. All right. Saxy, what you got? What's your words of encouragement? Because I know Saxy do a lot of stuff that she's not mentioning, because I know she teaches some classes and
What's going on?
She's been very modest tonight. You can go creep on her page and you can see her doing a lot of events, working with the youth of America, because you was in Philly doing stuff, and then things in Mississippi doing stuff. So, what's some of the things you speak about when you go out and talk to some of these teenagers at some of these events? What's some good words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, I do a lot of youth workshops, and my key thing that I always express is never give up, no matter what, and don't let anyone tell you, not even your own parents, don't let them tell you can't do it. Because for me personally, I was told that I could not DJ and that DJing is not a career that I could live off of. But look at me today. Look at me. So I just tell, you just always have to push for it. If it's something that you really, really want, it's really worth it. Push, push, push. Never give up. Don't take no for an answer. And if someone does say no, that only opens up another door and opportunity for your yes.
Oh, I like it.
There you go.
Yes,
Put down a t-shirt. Put that on a t-shirt.
My t-shirt business. My t-shirt business on the side.
Oh, see, there you go. So Whitney, I'm gonna leave it to you. Last word. You didn't have many opportunities, a lot in the past 5 years. What would you tell somebody like you 5 years ago? If someone as you 5 years ago, what would you tell them?
Keep God first. Plan your work and work your plan.
There you go. See, right to the point. There you go. Well, I really, really want to thank you all. This whole thing just kind of started off me just getting with people that I knew from the ship, and everybody chatting because everybody was stuck in the house. Everybody was idle, doing nothing. And I was like, let's get on the Zoom and start chatting. I got bored DJing on Twitch. So let's just talk it on Twitch. Let's just get on Facebook and chat about DJing life. So I really thank you all for taking the time out of your evening. I got everyone's Instagram information inside the comment links on Twitch and Facebook. So if anybody want to reach out to these superstars, the info is in the comment section. Anybody got anything last they want to say? Any shout outs? Any for your company, your brand?
Well,
your
shout out to everybody
emails?
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies,
Shout out to the ladies.
Yes.
Shout out to you, A-roc, for setting this up to be on your
Shout
episode
out to DJ A-roc.
6.5. This is your 6.5.
6.5. Right.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you for what you're doing for the culture as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
To you, A-roc.
It's fun. It's fun, and I love sharing the knowledge. And I'm hoping that somebody like me 5 years ago would find these videos, because when I first started looking for information, there was nothing out there. That's how I met Erica.
This creepy guy in my inbox.
It always comes back to Erica. It always comes back to Erica. So once again, all right, I'm going to end the stream on Facebook and Twitch. Please hold the line, ladies. Everybody else, thank you all for joining in. Positive P is in there, Decade, and everybody else that's on Twitch and Facebook.